Good morning, Marguerite. I'm hoping you'll be able to share with us your perspectives on leadership today. And the first question I'd like to ask you is what roles you've had as a leader and how did you end up as a leader?
Thanks, Sarath. I have had a number of roles as a leader. I think these started really small. At the moment, I work in a leadership role in my university in a clinical school capacity. And I also have leadership in a number of clinical streams in my clinical work. I think it's a gradual journey for me of having realised that there was different ways to tackle some of the challenges I was finding in the work that I did in both medical education and clinically, and recognising that I was interested in contributing to that solution on a bigger level than just on the interface with one student or with one patient. And I think without necessarily having planned it, that led to me almost inadvertently taking on roles which increasingly had leadership capacity within them in both my clinical and in my university work. So it's been a gradual evolution, I think, of my career, which wasn't necessarily intentional.
Now, some people would say that bigger picture approach that you had is really displaying vision, that you're actually going beyond what's in front of you and thinking, to what the bigger picture might look like. And it sounds as if you were displaying that vision even when you weren't in certain roles. So do you think other people's recognized your leadership capabilities through that?
I'm not sure. I think there are traditional ways of viewing leaders sometimes within our medical structures and within our universities. And I didn't have some of the attributes. I haven't gone through some of the pathways that would naturally incline towards that. So I don't have a PhD or a research expertise, which was naturally have led me towards a leadership position in a university. But I think that there probably was recognition in giving me opportunity and sort of guiding, along the way, people guiding you and realising that you might be someone who had some capabilities, or that you may be able to solve a certain solution or give a particular view to it.
What do you look at for in another leader? What traits do you look for in them, and what traits do you think you espouse for yourself?
Yeah, so I think that, you've called it vision, but that ability to understand both the big picture, but also keep sight of the smaller parts and the smaller the implications for the team and the workers on the ground. I think that's vitally important part of being a good leader. I think the personal attributes have to do with being able to be an exceptional communicator in terms of really listening to what people are saying and understanding what their meaning is, and also being very clear in your advocacy to the systems above you, and also your communication to the team that you're responsible for. So I think those are very important. And I think increasingly, a self-awareness is very important of what your strengths are and what areas as a leader or in your work that you need assistance with to help you to meet the responsibilities of your role. And I think that's something that's come on me gradually, the recognition that we're not all going to have the full set of attributes, which would be ideal, but we need to be very aware of them and build our teams, and build our work so that we're effective in our team environment.
Some of those traits that you described there, one could summarize them as being emotional intelligence. Is that something that you were gifted with, or is it something that you had to work on yourself over time?
I think that's difficult to answer. I think many paediatricians and people who work with children may have been drawn towards that field because they have, maybe it's an ability, or maybe it's a lack of discomfort in moving in that field. So it's probably a bit of both. I think that it's something that was attractive and appealing and not confronting, but also something that develops with the style of work you're involved in.
Marguerite, did you have any barriers on your sort of leadership journey? And if so, how did you overcome them, or are some barriers still in place?
Yeah, I've been reflecting on this, and I think that I have often, over time, grappled with my sense of whether I fitted into that leadership domain in the classic way. As I said, I haven't, for example, got a research background, but I found myself finally, and I'm very enjoying a leadership role within a university. So I think sometimes it's been difficult to look at the leaders or the defined leaders in my workplaces and identify with them for a variety of reasons, whether it's the pathways they took or the qualifications they have, or just other interpersonal aspects, like whether they're all, older males, or whether perhaps I did a lot of part-time training and had significant family commitments for part of my career development. And sometimes you felt that there weren't people you could identify with. So I guess my solutions to that have been to just always look for the opportunities where I felt that I could do things. And I think over time, I've just built up my confidence, and I've had people, I guess, encourage and support me along the way. And I think the other thing that's been important for me is sometimes looking for opportunities outside your workplace to develop skills in an area, or to develop or have an opportunity in an area where people, where people won't have a view of you prior, has been really helpful for me in building my confidence. And I guess it's helped me reframe how I view myself.
And have you made any mistakes along the way? And if that's too sensitive a question, what advice could you give other people that they might have a smoother path on their leadership journey?
I think that probably there've been, I'm not sure about mistakes. I probably would ask my teams about that. But I think if I look back and reflect about some things I wish I could have done differently that might have made the pathway easier, I think that I should not have been as worried about whether I was capable or the right person to be in a leadership role, and perhaps taken up some opportunities which were offered where people, offered to encourage me or have a chat. And I was never quite sure whether that was authentically offered, and I look back and I think, no, actually, there's a lot of genuine altruism in academia and in medicine, and people genuinely wanting to support and help you along the way and have a chat or offer some advice. And I wish I'd taken up more of those opportunities and developed, I guess, some mentoring capacity when perhaps it was offered. And I think that would have been really helpful in just helping me develop a bit more of my confidence in my own leadership style and capacity earlier.
And are you mentoring others now that you recognise the value of that mentoring for you?
Yeah, in a small way, yes. So I think I definitely am. I'm trying to see those opportunities and engage with people, and particularly people who I probably identify with the pathway that I've come through, who are coming through somewhat atypical pathways, and recognising the value they might have in the system, and some advice along the way about the opportunities that might exist.
And final question, Marguerite. How do you get the best out of your team?
Yeah, it's a good question, Sarath. I think you have to know them well, and you have to be open to listening to them always. So, and they have to respect you. And those three things, and particularly the third, are not easily come by. So I think if you're honest and authentic in your communications, even when the news you bring is not what you would like to bring, and if people genuinely feel that they're listened to, and you can keep a clear vision of what it is that you're aiming for as a team, I think those are the sort of principles for me that would say that's how we're likely to get the best out of people. I'm likely to identify where people's ability to contribute best is and how. And yeah, I think that having an open door and being approachable is vital.
Well, Marguerite, thank you very much. My perception is that that was a very honest and authentic interview. So you're displaying some of those traits that you're talking about. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thank you.